Happy 35th birthday to iOS Press. I'm very happy and proud that I have been part of this journey for almost 15 years. I'm editor-in-chief of a book series, Studies on the Semantic Web, which has been going for, well, almost 15 years now. And I'm also one of the two editors-in-chief of the Semantic Web Journal. And I want to talk a little bit about this. The Semantic Web Journal has some non-standard features, in particular related to transparency and openness, which we set up back then and were happy that iOS Press was willing to do the experiment with us and try to set up a journal which does not follow the standard review processes, but does things in a more transparent way, and to see how it works out. And as we will see, it worked out really well. The Semantic Web field is about 20 years old, or more than 20 years old. It depends how you start counting. The journal is newer than that. The journal is from 2010. That was the first issue of the journal. So we came to the field relatively late. The field is mostly in computer science, however, with close connections to many other subfields, like, for example, artificial intelligence, but also with a lot of application areas in different fields, be it the digital humanities or the geosciences or biomedical fields, life sciences. In the end, wherever data is important, Semantic Web can play and often plays a role. The focus of the Semantic Web field is really on data management, not necessarily only on the web, but also off the web. The focus is on data sharing, data discovery, data integration, data reuse, and on processes and methods and tools, how to make all this easier, less expensive. Some keywords you may have heard about related to this are ontologies, linked data, knowledge graphs, which currently is much talked about. The field is based on standards established primarily by the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, which also provides standards such as HTML and all the things your web browser uses. And as such, these standards are also already 20 or more years old. Currently, the field is seeing significant uptake in application areas, in particular in industry. IT lead companies are building their data management around knowledge graphs and are rather verbal about it. The Semantic Web Journal itself was funded in 2010, so that was about 10 years after the field really took off big. My co-editor-in-chief is Christoph Janowitz from University of California, Santa Barbara, and we both founded the journal together with iOS Press. The journal started off not as the only journal in the field, but there was already an established journal from a different publisher. In the meantime, the Semantic Web Journal is the only Q1 journal in the field. The impact factor 2021 is 2.214, which, as you may know, for computer science is pretty good if you have a specialized journal for a specific subtopic. The Google Scholar H5 index is 40. We have recently overtaken even the lead conference with our Google Scholar H5 index. So this is going rather well, and this means that we have essentially helped establish and put this journal into the lead starting from, well, a newcomer position about 12 years ago. One of the important aspects of the journal is that we do some things in a non-standard way, in particular things related to openness and transparency. So let's briefly talk about a few of those. And all of that would not have been possible without the assistance of iOS Press in setting these things up, in navigating a lot of issues around that, including funding, for example, for a review management system, because for what we wanted to do, none of the ones which was out there did actually do the job in the way in which we needed it. So what did we do regarding review transparency? Papers submitted to the journal, they get put online as soon as we did our editorial scan, just to make sure it's really a paper and not something else. And that means they're available for the public essentially when reviewing starts. That is the first aspect. Well, then, in addition, reviewers are named, and the reviews are actually public. Well, reviewers can opt out of having their names shown if they want to, and they sometimes do, but the reviews themselves are always public and put online as soon as there is a notification for the paper. Editors are also named, also public, and both reviewers and editors get also named and acknowledged in the published paper if a paper is accepted for publication. In addition, open reviews can be provided, meaning any research community member can actually also review on a paper using essentially a comment function on the website. And these reviews are also taken into account when a decision on the paper is made. You can see why we needed a custom review system for this, which, well, was established with funding and help from iOS Press in order to do that very early on in the process, where it was not clear yet where the journal would actually be going. Open access. Author versions of the papers have always been available for the public on the Semantic Web Journal website because, as mentioned, all submissions are actually online and usually remain online even after reviewing is over. Rejected papers can, of course, be taken off if the authors request that after some time. So the author versions have always been available. But in 2020, we actually went to a full gold open access, meaning only open access publications are possible for the journal. We were a little bit worried, we meaning editors-in-chief, particularly me, whether that would have any negative impact on submission numbers, and I'm very happy to report it did not. We're just going as strong as we have before, so things are going rather well in that direction. Open data, and this is the latest addition to the portfolio that started about a year ago, not quite a year ago, in 2021. And what we do is we require authors to publicly and sustainably provide data for verification and reproducibility. Now, this essentially means that when authors submit a paper, then they need to also provide a link to a stable repository, meaning one that can be stable over, well, quite some time on the web, where they do not only have data for the experiments, but also potentially software which they may have developed. It's computer science after all, or other artifacts such as knowledge graphs, for example, which are relevant for the assessment of the work in the paper. We only started this very recently, as mentioned, so we do not have a lot of experience yet with how this pans out, but there will of course be an assessment forthcoming over the next few months, I think, is when we will start and seeing how well did our new workflows for this work out and our quality assurance aspects. And this is really what I wanted to mention. I thank you all very much, and a big shout out again to iOS Press. We would not have been able to do it without their support, what we did here, and we are so happy for all the support for the innovations that they essentially provide on all aspects where we need it. They provide help in doing that. And it has been a good journey. It has also been fun working with the team all the time when we meet them. Also on other things, which Christoph, I believe, is talking about during this same event. So thank you all very much. Big shout out. And I hope the journey will continue and we will continue to do good stuff. Thank you very much.